Good morning, my lovely crafty people, and we are back. It's another day in December, so a day for another Christmas craft. And today I'm going to make these beautiful hanging paper hearts with tassels and a hangy thing. They're really pretty. They're actually really easy to make. A little bit fiddly, but easy. So we're going to have a go at these today. So I've made two already. I've made a gold one and a red one. And today I'm going to use silver and make a silver one. So you really want double-sided scrapbook papers. So I need 3 different ones. So I'm going to have that one and that one and some snowflakes. Okay, so these ones are shiny on the front and they're matte on the back. And I think they were from the works a couple of years ago. So we're going to have a go at making those. And you will also need a hole punch, a stapler, some thread to match your chosen colour scheme, some sticky gems if you want, some beads if you want, and glue. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut some strips that are approximately, and I say approximately because I do everything approximately, 1 centimetre width. So what I'm doing is I'm using the lines on my cutting board and I'm lining the ruler up with that one, and I'm going to cut through all 3 sheets, and you want 2 of each sheet. I'll show you why in a minute. So line that one back up again. Lining up with that line, and I'm cutting again. So I've got 2 of each, and then I need to choose one that I'm going to have for the middle, and I need to cut 1 more strip of whichever one I'm going to have for the middle. Okay, so I did try these out. I've done them with book pages. They look really cool with book pages, and you can make them all different sizes depending on the size of the paper you're using. So a bit like the snowflakes, they can be all different sizes. So I'm using this one for my middle, and then I need to decide which one I want for the top, the middle, and the bottom. So the top ones I'm going to leave the same length. The middle ones I'm literally going to chop 1 inch off. Okay, so I'm just going to chop 1 inch off that one. Okay, and then the bottom ones, the inside ones, I'm going to chop 2 inches off. Okay, now the middle one you could chop, or you can do what I'm going to do and wait until later to chop it. What I am going to do though is I'm just going to curve the top corners of the middle one. All will become clear. Okay, so you're going to start with your longest strips and you're going to stick them shiny side in. Okay, which is my glues have I got that works? My Pritt sticks run out, so let's grab another Pritt stick. So I'm just going to put a line of glue, and you want to come down about 1 inch and glue it there. Okay, so you're just gluing the end down. I turn it over, making sure it's straight, and I'm going to do the same on the other side, making sure it lines up. Okay. So those are my 2 long strips stuck down, and once it's dry you'll see they can bend. Then I'm going to take my middle ones, and again I'm sticking shiny side down, and I'm going to go just underneath the longer strip. So you can see that's where the longer strip is, and the middle strip is stuck just underneath, just making sure they stay lined up. And again with the middle one, making sure they are at the same point. And then I'm going to do the bottom one, remembering it's shiny side in, and again about the same distance underneath. As you can see, I've got the long one stuck down, the middle one stuck down, and then the shorter one stuck down. I apologise for the noise, my washing machine is going and it's creating a rattle through the whole house, which is nuts. Okay, so just going to give those a minute to dry because you really need them to dry. While they're drying, I'm going to create my tassel. Now you could use bought tassels, and I have some, but actually I want to have a go at making them as well. So I've just got an old tag. I'm just going to wrap it round a couple of times. Snip it off. Okay, so leaving that on there, I'm going to snip a length. And I'm going to come through the tassel and tie it off. If you've watched the button Christmas trees, you'll have seen me make the tassels before, and I did those slightly different, but these ones create neater tassels. Right, so that's that bit. Now I just need to slide it off the card. And I'm not going to cut the bottom just yet because I want to hold it together a little bit more. And then using another length of the same colour, I'm going to wrap around about 1/2 centimetre below the loop. Okay, and then I'm going to create a bow. You can weave the ends in, but actually I quite like the bow on it. So just going to create that bow. Oh, this one's not as flexible as some of the other ones. Hang on, where have we got? We've got an extra little tail hanging up. Hang on, I've missed a tail. Bear in with. Again, goes perfect when it's not on the video. So let's undo that. Make sure all the tails are stuck down. What I might do with this one is just peg it for a minute so that they are all in the right place. And let's do that again. So we're just going to wrap 1, 2, 3, 4, wrapping it nice and tight. And then we're going to tie it off into a bow. Okay, that was bow's not really worked. So what we'll do is we'll just double knot it. This twine is quite sturdy, and you can use embroidery silks for this bit or anything else you can lay your hands on. Okay, so I have just double knotted it. So what I'm going to do over the knot is I'm going to stick one of those sticky gems just so it holds everything down. So just going to go over the knot there, put a little bit of glue on. They are sticky gems, but I like to give it an extra bit of glue because nobody wants bits and bobs falling off halfway through, do they? Okay, so just holding that down. Just going to stick that on. So I'm going to just pin that on there. So that glue dries, and then we'll come back to that in a minute. Pin that on there. I'll come back to that in a minute. Right, and then you'll see on this red one the bow worked really well. On the gold one I haven't stuck anything. I thread it through and it's not wonderful. But right, now this has dried, so you're going to start with the shorter lengths and you're going to just curl them to meet just underneath where you stuck them. Then you do the next length and just curl them so they meet at the same point. Okay, so you want all the papers to meet at the same point. And you're going to do the same with the longer ones, making sure all of the papers meet at the same point. And you can move this, so the reason I left that middle one long is because you can move it up and down depending on where you want your hearts or how big you want your hearts. Just making sure that they're all even. Once you've got them even, snip off the excess. And you could glue these down. Okay, you can glue them, but actually the sturdiest way to fix them is to just staple them. Okay, so you can see they're all, how pretty are they? And you've got that curved one at the top, which you can punch a hole through, and then you've got the bottom, which you can punch a hole through as well. Okay, this is a slightly smaller hole punch. Then at the top you're going to just create a loop of thread to coordinate with the papers you've chosen. You don't need to use Christmas papers, you could really use any papers. Okay, and then I'm just going to tie that in a knot at the top. So this is where you could add a bead if you wanted to add a bead. You could thread a bead on and it would just sit on the top. And then let's go back to this. Hopefully it's stuck beautifully. And I'm just going to snip off the loops. Trim them up so they're all the same length. Now I've got glitter all over my desk. And again, I'm going to take that through the hole. Now I've taken it through the hole before I tie the knot because the knot doesn't go through the little hole. You could always, if you haven't got a little hole punch, you could use a normal sized hole punch. And I'm just going to thread that off, snip off the excess, and then thread the tassel through the hangy loop and just pull it down like that. And there we have a second silver one. How cute are they? You can make that tassel as long or as short as you like. So we've got a silver one, we've got a red one, we've got a gold one, and I will make a green one. I have traditional colours in my house, but you can make them any colour to match your colour schemes, or you could, these could be lovely just hung on cards, simple cards that you give to your friends. You can say, keep this as a decoration. But also, how cute are they? They'd be lovely for Valentine's Day if you do Valentine's Day. I don't, I'm a bar humbug when it comes to Valentine's, but how cute are they? So really simple. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow with another Christmas craft. Take care, see you soon.